Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is perhaps the most extreme daily driver you could buy today. This is the all-electric 2024 GMC HUMMER 3X SUV EV. This thing is absolutely bonkers, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a complete tour and show you exactly what it is that I mean. Stay tuned. Oh my goodness! This thing is ridiculous! First things first, a huge thank you to GMC for finally getting me a Hummer EV. I've been asking for one for years, and now I finally have one here to do a full suite of tests. You will see this on-road review, you will see an off-road review with Eric and all of what he is doing over on our premium channel, and you will see a family review with Holly behind the wheel here. Go ahead and turn Watts to Freedom off and drive this like normal. I mentioned in the intro, this is perhaps the most insane daily driver that you can buy on the market today, and I truly stand by that. This really can be used as a daily driver, but it's also a supercar. It's also an insane off-roader. It is all the things baked into one. If a Tesla and a Jeep and a Bronco and a Suburban all met and somehow combined their DNA, you get this. This truly is an insane vehicle from top to bottom, from nose to tail. And let's actually start up at the nose, talking about what powers this thing. This thing is absolutely bonkers, and we haven't even gotten to the most insane things about it. First though, I want to talk about what is under the hood back behind me. Yes, your eyes did not deceive you. It did open by itself, and there is nothing underneath there because, as you already know, this is a fully electric vehicle. And yes, we have a front trunk. Now, you may be wondering, what are these bags for? These are the storage bags for the roof panels. So much like a Bronco or a Jeep Wrangler, the 4 roof panels above all 4 outboard seats in this vehicle are completely removable, and they are fairly lightweight, very easy to remove. When you do, you can stack 2 per bag, and they all fit nice and neatly under the hood here. No need for a gas motor in this thing because the electric motors are really what make this thing move. This being a 3X actually is a tri-motor unit. So this does have naturally all-wheel drive, but we have 2 electric motors in the rear, 1 in the front for some absolutely staggering power numbers in this, and some that are maybe more marketing than they are real life. But we have 830 horsepower, and that is the believable number, 11,500 pound-feet of torque, which to me is a more of a marketing number because they've done some trickery to make sure that that number just seems outrageous. Although anecdotally, I will say, I will apologize to the owners of this parking lot here, but I did try a 0 to 60 run right down here, and between the 10,000 pound weight of this vehicle and the just blistering torque at all 4 corners on this thing, it does leave some marks on the pavement. But you can see even right here, these right here are for me just simply doing slow turns in it to show off the crab walk and the rear wheel steering in it. Yes, this has a lot of torque. Can we truly accurately, apples to apples, compare it to a gas vehicle? Not exactly. Does it really have 11,500 pound-feet of torque? Yes and no, but for all intents and purposes, no. Tri-motors in this. 3, count them, 3, with over 800 horsepower and over 11,000 pounds of torque, but it does have a lot of torque. That cannot be denied. Just look at this, my goodness. A 10,000 pound vehicle should not move like this vehicle moves. A thing I will bring up with that though is, yes, this weighs 10,000 pounds. Yes, it can go 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, but should it? Because what happens when something goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds? All that weight gets shoved way back there in the back, and the steering gets a little bit squirrely under very hard acceleration, like watts to freedom. So it's something you need to keep in mind. I'm glad that is kind of a hidden feature. You press on your traction control twice, and now we go into watts to freedom. I get a little notification here saying the vehicle's gonna lower, and then I get this computer generated graphic here of me on a launch pad on the moon. It tells me right here in front of me that the vehicle is lowering, and it gives me all the instructions for what I need to do. Then it vibrates my seat to let me know, all right, we're ready, let's go. So I'm gonna stand on the brake with my left foot, floor it with my right foot, drop my left foot, and oh my goodness, this thing is ridiculous. Woo! Oh my goodness. You have to search it out to truly do those insane acceleration runs. Yikes! This car is crazy. It is a lot of fun, and it translates to a vehicle that you never need for power at all whatsoever. Yes, it's a big, monstrous SUV, but it moves like a sports car. It can maneuver like a sports car thanks to four-wheel steering, which I will show you just how exaggerated that is when we do an exterior tour. All right, let's talk about the styling of this, because it absolutely turns heads everywhere I've taken it, and especially from all the gym bros at the gym. This thing catches eyes and starts conversations. I have been saying this is more a spiritual successor to the H2 than it is the H1. And what I mean by that is the H2 was a watered down version of the military purpose-built H1 vehicle. You can tell with the 22-inch wheels in this vehicle that it really is more for on-road use than off-road use, but we're gonna get into all of that. First and foremost, starting up front, we got an LED light bar going all the way across the front. These headlights, turn lights, everything up here is LED. You can see we have those 3 marker lamps above the cab there. So yes, this is a very wide vehicle, and it is not visual trickery. This thing really is that big. And you can see it's actually lowering itself down. It got tired of being in extract mode. It's bringing itself down to a more acceptable height. But of all these LEDs up front, these perhaps do the most heavy lifting. You can see they are our turn signals right now. They're also part of our running lights. So if I did not have the turn signal on, they'd be white like these, fully lit up to complete that look across the front. But if I have it plugged up and charging, they are blue and they stack up as it charges to show you a state of charge. So you can even tell from a far distance exactly where the state of charge is on this. The headlights are actually down below in the bumper, much like many vehicles nowadays. We're divorcing those from the running lights. So that whole lighting array up top, yep, that's all for looks. The functional lights are down here in the bumper. You can see it flanks the one GMC logo up here in the grille, because yes, that is still a GMC branded vehicle. Then we've got these massive D-rings, because they have to be massive if you are going to be doing any towing or pulling of this in or out, or using this to tow in or out, because again, nearly 10,000 pound weight rating on this beast. As we come down lower, you can see we have full underbody protection, and I mean full underbody protection, and you need it because underneath this is where the Ultium battery resides. And I did not talk about the battery when we were talking about the power, but it is a 24 module, 205 kilowatt hour Ultium battery pack that spans the entire underneath of this vehicle. And as we come around to the side here, you can see that a little bit more. So the color that we have here is called Tide Blue. Again, leaning into that H2 heritage, less than the H1. H2 really was a look at me type of vehicle. This is very much a look at me type of paint color. I like it, it's nice. Would I have picked it? No, I probably would have gone for the orange that I previously tested here on the channel. But underneath the blue paint, down the sides here, you can see all this black area. That is actually where those 24 modules of batteries are stacked. It is a lithium-ion battery, and yes, they run the entire underneath of this vehicle and are one of the many reasons why this thing weighs so much. Batteries are heavy, y'all. And I will say, unlike other SUVs of this size, of this stature, because all or most of that weight is down low, it feels more planted down to the ground, which really is a good thing. One thing you can really tell from here, with me up in extract mode, though I do know it has dropped down a little bit. This has 4-corner air ride suspension, so you can achieve 13 inches of wheel travel with a simple push of a button. And you can see just how massive that air canister is to lift this 10,000 pound beast up and down. We're actually going to come around here and take a look at some of the suspension components because you can see that just a little bit better from this angle here. But you can see just all the heavy duty suspension components on this, because this is basically treated like a heavy duty vehicle. Just look how many lugs we have on these Hummer EV branded 22-inch wheels. This ain't your typical off-road vehicle. Yes, even though these are 22s, Goodyear managed to make a Wrangler tire for it, which, yes, these are Territory ATs or all-terrains, but it kind of waters down the Wrangler name when you can put them on a 22-inch wheel. These are 305/55 are 22-inch Goodyear Wrangler tires wrapped around these Hummer EV specific wheels, and you can see all the H's that go all the way around it. That is a theme that carries throughout on this vehicle. Another thing I really like about it, much like the Canyon midsize pickup truck, they have cut out the front bumper right here so that when your tire is pointed straight, it's the first thing that comes in contact with anything, any obstacle off-road, which makes this have video game like off-road numbers. It's like you're creating your own player and you turned everything up to 11. You can have up to 16 inches of ground clearance, 49.6 degree approach angle, 34.4 degree breakover angle, 49 degree departure angle if you ignore the tire hanging off the back, 32 inches of water fording, 13 inches of suspension travel, and a 35.4 foot turning radius that is tighter than many mid-size crossovers. As we fully pull around to the side here, you can see it's got a very Hummer-esque design. It stays true to its brand heritage, very boxy, very linear, though it has been modernized. The roofline kind of tapers back to the back. The reason the roof is black is because, again, those are removable roof panels. We do luckily get these very heavy-duty side steps, because when you are jacked up in off-road mode or extract mode, getting in and out can be just a little bit difficult. And then we get that Hummer EV badge there. Here's where you know exactly which model you've got. And then coming to the back tires, 4-wheel steering. So you can see the front wheels are turned driver, the back wheels are turned passenger, which makes the turning radius on this just so good. I am currently in terrain mode, which is the most exaggerated four-wheel steering where the back wheels turn the absolute most. And I am just going to do a turning circle within the parking lines. You can see here just how ridiculous this turning radius is. We'll do it one more time. We'll get up here. I am on the edge of a traditional parking lot spot, and I am going to do a full 360 within the lines of a parking spot. That is just absolutely ridiculous of what it is capable of. And you can feel the back end kind of pivoting around when you are here in terrain mode. It is a very exaggerated experience, but it is meant to help you get out of some tricky situations off-road. It is just so crazy in some of its modes, like crab walk. So push and hold the button, we get the graphic there. We get all the camera angles to show exactly what the vehicle is doing. So now I can point the wheel forward and we'll drive forward, or I can crab walk us sideways, and you can see just from the lines on the road or in the parking lot just what this vehicle is doing, how it moves side to side instead of turning from one way to another. It is so trippy being in a vehicle going diagonally, not turning like you would imagine it. Very crazy, very trippy in crab mode. And as we get back to the back, you can see just how far back these wheels and tires are pushed. That is one of the benefits of an electric vehicle platform. You really can push the wheels and tires out to the corners, and much like up front, back here we have a cutout in the bumper as well, so that your tire is one of the last things, hopefully the last thing, to come in contact with the dirt, the ground, back in the back as you are departing an obstacle. Yes, we get a fifth wheel and tire back here on the very back. And you can see, yes, we have been taking this off-road. Be sure and hit that subscribe button down below so that you can see our video exploring Barnwell Mountain in this big beast. Coming down here though, you can see just again how much ground clearance this thing has and how heavy duty those suspension components have to be for this 10,000 pound beast. It really is quite impressive. We get LED lights back here as well. If you turn your head sideways, they are H's. There are a lot of H's in this vehicle. We have a power opening rear hatch that swings open. It is a swing gate, much like Hummers, much like Broncos, much like Jeep, Wranglers, but this one is power operated, so you don't have to fight with a gas pressurized strut, though, my goodness, it is just absolutely massive. One thing I really like, this back window rolls down. I wish GM would do that in more of their vehicles. I know Suburban and Tahoe and Yukon XL, all of those, they have an opening rear hatch, rear glass, but I really like the roll down rear window. Toyota recently got away from that with their Sequoia, and I think that was a misstep, though I do know complications and such. Some other things about this being an EV, you've got to put those electric motors somewhere. This being a 3-motor unit, yes, we've got some electric motor action going on back here, which really necessitates all of this space that you're seeing right here from the bumper to the actual load-in height right here. Again, because of the adjustable suspension in this, see, it's dropping down a little bit more. Because of the adjustable suspension in this, depending on where you've got the vehicle set, really dictates how tall this is. But yeah, I feel like this overall opening is a little on the low side. We've got some good cargo numbers back here, but for a vehicle that really essentially is GMC or Hummer's version of a Tahoe or a Yukon, it is a little bit on the small side when you really start talking about just how much space is back here. And I think that is mostly due to how high the floor is and that tapering roof line that I showed you on the side. We do have a little bit of underfloor storage here, so you can hide some items down here. And then we've got the topographical map of the moon down here. You've got a little bit of storage over here. You've got a power outlet right here. You've got places to hook a net up. You can power fold the rear seats from here, but I won't because we've got a lot of stuff in there for Tucker, but you can do it. And including putting in Tucker's child safety seat, we've got a whole video on that. But in one of the most odd additions to this vehicle, you've got a fairly basic scissor jack back here. I don't know about you, but that thing would probably buckle under the weight of this vehicle. I think that is more for being a good Samaritan and helping someone else out versus actually using it to lift this vehicle up. And I do believe I'm gonna have to put this back in when I've got two hands, but we'll take care of that in just a moment. Again, very large rear opening back here, and to open and close it, your button is hidden just right there. Truly insane exterior on this as well. The fact that you can jack it up to 16 inches of ground clearance, that there is 13 inches of wheel travel in this, and that is all on a vehicle riding on 22-inch wheels. It's all kind of insane things put together. Again, I have off-road tested an extreme off-road version that does have 18-inch wheels with 35-inch tall tires. And I think that is more the speed and the manner in which I would equip my Hummer if I were to spend $107,000 on it. Yes, this one as it sits is a very top trim 3X tri-motor with all the bells and whistles. Sure, I can get some translucent panels and such, but $107,610 for this one. It's quite a pretty penny, but with that, you get some luxuries here on the inside as well. I'll take you on a quick tour and show you all of that. Before we get into this one and show you around the inside, I did want to show you the key. It is your typical GM key, but you can see Hummer EV is stamped here on the side. GMC's in black, and then we got a few extra buttons here. So lock, unlock, you know that. Remote start, okay. Rear hatch, okay. But front trunk, you saw me open that earlier. Both of these say that they are a double press, but you have to double press and hold for them to do anything. And that means the entire time for the front trunk. So that is opening and closing it, but you can get into the front very easily. There are some buttons inside as well. It didn't like that. I walked too far away, I guess. There it goes, coming back down. The same is true for the rear hatch. Double press and hold it, and it will swing open. I guess that is more a safety thing, so you make sure that it doesn't bump into things, just because it is just so massive. And with that 22-inch wheel and tire back there, it is kind of heavy as well. So definitely something you want to be mindful of. I am still in extract mode, which is its highest ride height, just because I want to show you what it's like getting in and out of this thing in its highest, but I can drop it down while we're up front. And before we climb in the back, you will see just the difference there. But opening the door, you can see we've got this lunar white, which is textured. It's not leather, it's a synthetic, and it is showing a little bit of wear and dirt to it. Keep in mind, we did go out to Barnwell Mountain, famous for East Texas red dirt. You can see we've got a black up here that is that same textured. It's padded. It's nice. We've got some stitching, two-person memory seat here. We've got a grab handle, but it's a little wobbly. If you're going to be pulling yourself, I recommend the A-pillar mounted one. We have all our window controls and mirror controls right here. You can power fold the mirrors, but they will open back up on you at speed. And interestingly enough, in a vehicle with a MSRP of $107,000, no auto windows. You can auto drop them, but not from these controls. Go ahead and show you the controls on the left side of the steering wheel. You're actually going to need to use what Tucker and I call the toot button, the fart button, whatever you want to call it. That drops all 5 windows down all at once, yes, including that rear window. This is your power button for that rear power port, your lane keeping, your rear hatch, your front trunk, and electronic parking brake, and your brightness controls. Before we climb in, I do want to show you the all-weather floor mats. I do have removable inserts that are fastened in with buttons, so you can remove that as well. Multi-way positional seats with 4-way lumbar and more of that synthetic seating material wide up top, which is a good place for it because you don't want it down here. It would definitely already be stained red for me. We get this kind of rose gold. It is plastic, but the Hummer EV, which matches all the other rose gold on the interior here. Now I'm going to do my best to climb up into this thing and start it up. We'll close the door, put our foot on the brake, but we'll let the graphics go. Yes, that is the Hummer driving across the moon. There's a lot of lunar influence here in this vehicle. In fact, the interior color, I believe, is lunar white, something to that effect. But then again, you can see all the white gauges. These do a really cool animation when they switch to night mode. It's like the sun is setting on the moon, and you can see all the topography here actually casts a shadow as it transitions from light to dark, which is very cool in my opinion. The graphics package in this vehicle is absolutely amazing. Unlike the Silverado EV, which shares a lot of components with this and a lot of principles with this, we get two separate screens here. We don't get the massive freeform 17.7 from the Silverado EV. We get a more reasonably sized gauge cluster or infotainment screen here and a digital infotainment gauge cluster here. I don't know what it is about square or rectangular gauge clusters behind a round wheel, but I guess engineers, designers forget that you can't see the whole thing. This is a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel, so you can move it around and save that with your drive modes, but sometimes there are just some things that you can't see. Plus, you kind of have to learn, like, this is your ride height. If you're not watching that, if you don't see this at all, that means you're a normal ride height. But as you adjust those sort of things, it will tell you and be flashing and let you know that things are changing. So see, vehicle lowering, and it shows that we're dropping down there. I'm actually going to drop us all the way down into entry exit, and I'm actually going to change our drive mode over here. We'll show you our different drive modes, everything that's available. We've got normal, my mode, off-road, kicking up dirt, absolutely. Terrain, which you actually have to accept, otherwise it'll go back to normal, and then tow haul. Go ahead and put it in normal. This is where you can turn on and off your one pedal driving, which we will talk about while in motion. And then more of our generalized car features here, vehicle features, your pitch and roll, what your wheels are doing with the wheel travel, how they're turned, the PSI. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We have a lot of pressure in these tires. Compass, elevation, and then torque and ride height. So you can see we're still in increased ride height. Let's see if we can get it to drop down into normal or entry exit as we show you around in here. The steering wheel, we've got volume and tuning on the back side of the steering wheel. All your other controls for your infotainment screen can be found up here. So I like that a lot. Fairly easy to use. This does have Super Cruise. If you want to see a full video on Super Cruise, we took a Chevy Suburban High Country all across Texas, even Holly liked Super Cruise there. So that's all your driver information here. Coming back over to our infotainment screen, these are actually two screens in one because all your HVAC controls are part of a screen, though they are not touch sensitive like this section is up here. They react to what you do with your toggles. You can see your temperature controls for your tri-zone AC is an up-down, but when you get to your seat controls right here, that is not so much the case. You hit it here, that opens up. Now your seat controls are found here for cooling, here for heating, but it's hot and we're going to do that. To get that to retract, you wait or let it go. Sync AC, your heat, your fan location, fan speed, recirculate, automatic, your defrost, and then all your passenger controls over here. Very interesting that they chose to do it this way instead of also making it touchscreen. I don't know, just an interesting layout to me. Down here we get some more toggles for a heated steering wheel, traction control, but this does something special we'll talk about in a moment. Hazards, parking, and your parking sensors, all very nicely laid out here. I really like the texture of them. They're really cool. You did see that my wife texted me, we do have Apple CarPlay in this. This is one of very few General Motors EVs that still offers CarPlay, and it is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Very nice that it is in here, but very odd usage of screen real estate. So yeah, only right here, very small. It's like an 8-inch screen when you've got all of this still here. You can swipe through a few additional things here on the side, and then you've got all your Google designed built-in controls here. You can go home, all your stuff right there, rear climate, off-road modes, you can go straight into it. Then you've got your cameras. This has got a massive array of cameras in it. Full 360 cameras, full up front. You can look down on the nose, down on the tail. You can look from your mirrors back in the back and up front. But oddly enough, the placement of them, you don't get to see a whole lot of your front tires, but you do get to see the contact patch, so that does help. You can pan over here. We do have some trailer modes as well, which is very good. This does have a trailering package, though I don't know that I would tow with it just because of the diminishing return you get on your range. Full charge, this gets 314 miles of range. You can see we're a little less than that. We're getting 288. We did road trip this yesterday, and over 105-mile distance, we lost about 130 miles of range. So you do the math there. Down here, we've got some more rose gold or HVAC controls. Rose gold kind of goes across the entire width of the front, which is a very nice, classy look. You can see it repeats on the door handles and doors here as well. And then we get non-gloss black. I like this material here for our cup holder covers and for our wireless charging covers. So I feel like this is just a massive panel. Same electronic shifter that we see in a lot of General Motors products. Same drive mode selector that we see in a lot of General Motors products. With your ride height adjustment here. And this is how you engage crab walk and turn on and off your 4-wheel steering. Other than that, really just your ride height and your crab modes here. And when you hit this one, it says your mode, your mission, epic ideas at gmc.com. So not really quite sure what that is. We have a lot of under console storage down here because again, no mechanical connection to anything. Really like that. That makes for a lot of storage. A lot of storage in here. You can see we've got a little snack in here. We've got even more stuff hidden underneath. Really, really like all of that. Coming up above me, you can see we've got our light controls for when the door opens, whether lights come on. And then I'll go ahead and show you the rear view camera or rear view window here, because you can actually drop down that rear window through this button right here. You can also, again, use the 2 button to drop them all down, but you're going to have to bring it back up right there. This is a rear view camera mirror, so I can see out the back just fine, though that tire does get in the way a little bit, but now I have a very clear view back there. Moving up even higher, you can see we've got very thin and very thin sun visors, but they do move back in this. But yes, not a very big windshield, so you don't need a big visor. But yes, that was our garage door opener that fell. You do have home link, but we typically don't program those. Moving up to the very top, you can see we've got just a couple latches here to remove the roof panels. And it is actually quite easy to remove these roof panels from outside or inside the vehicle. You simply unlatch it and pull it. This crossbar right here is removable with tools, but you can just leave it in place, and makes it for opening up this vehicle very easy. Unlike the Bronco or the Wrangler, you don't have a roll cage in place. When this is off, like, it is open all the way across, which is a very wide open experience that I really like. While we're talking about the roof, the ceiling, I've got plenty of room. These are plastic panels, so they are light, but they are kind of flimsy. I did take this through a drive-through car wash to see water tightness. I felt a little spritz as I was going through some high pressure, but really this is a watertight vehicle, though these are a little noisy driving on the roads or on the trails. That just happens when you've got this many movable pieces all kind of coming in contact with one another. But now let's hop out, see what the entry exit ride height is like and what that back seat is like as well. So you can see, yes, entry exit ride height is a much more acceptable ride height for getting in and out of it. This looks more like a big 3-row SUV, more like a Chevy Tahoe or the like in this lower ride height. So yes, much more usable. Before we get in, I do want to talk about the charge port. It is back here in the back. It is still using the old CCS J1772 combination here, but we will be switching over to the NAX or the Tesla plug coming very soon, but that is located back in the back corner. Now let's climb into the back to show you what the back seat is like. I really like how GMC has put the access buttons on all 4 doors. This isn't a passive entry system. You have to push that button to unlock it, but I like how they put it on all 4 doors. Well, I've got this one open because of those removable roof panels, frameless doors, which I really like. The doors are not removable like Bronco or Wrangler, but yes, really like the open design of it. Makes for a really nice open air experience, especially when you take those roof panels off. You can see the design is the same as up front, that two-tone material, that textured material, and then we get GM hard plastic everywhere else. Still get a grab handle here, but again, if you're holding and pulling yourself up, use the one on the pillar. We still get that step down there. This is more like a Chevy Tahoe, like a rear door entry because of the rear wheel being closer to you, but it is fairly easy to get in, climb in, sit behind myself. Before I close the door, I do want to say there is a cup holder here, a little bit of storage here, and like on the front doors, we get the topography on the moon here on these Bose speaker covers, and we do have some footprints. I think those are more evident on the front doors. Taking a look at the back seat, this is a very spacious back seat. You can see just how much room I have behind myself at 5'10". Map pockets on the back of both front seats. We get 3-zone climate with all your controls right here, USB-A and USB-C ports for charging devices. Air vents back here. We can't put them on the ceiling because the roof panels are removable, and a little storage section here with some rubberized topography down here as well as that rubberized topography down in the floor mats here. Just like up front, you've got those button removable sections, but the whole floor mat does remove, so that is very nice. I brought in Tucker's booster seat just to show you what this looks like and how wide this is, 4 seats all the way across. It is a full-size General Motors vehicle, therefore I have no doubt whatsoever you could get 3 car seats all the way across in this. You can even get a car seat, a booster, and an adult in here completely fine. The space in this vehicle, absolutely usable. This is perhaps why you would want to buy an Hummer EV, because it's electric and it's big enough for your family. Cup holders in the back of the armrest right there. We have some power down here that I did not show you just a moment ago, but 3-prong power outlet. So you've got some stuff back here just to add to the overall experience back here in the back. You're not a second-class citizen. Tri-zone climate, power ports, all the things, and then plenty of room for the family. There is no 3rd row back there, so that is a little bit of a downside. I do believe the Escalade IQ will be the first General Motors big 3-row SUV to be a 3-row SUV, but you can see again plenty of room back there. Since we don't have the roll cage like in a Hummer or a Bronco or a Wrangler, you can see we get these safety loops right here. So while these center pieces are removable, these are your safety loops for if for whatever reason you ended up shiny side down. So there is that, and that is where your LED lights are hidden. But again, these panels are just as easily removable as the front panels, and all 4 of them store up under the front. But let's finish this up talking about how this thing drives on the road. You'll have to subscribe to see what it's like off-road. All right, so drive modes. We have 5 different drive modes that I showed you earlier, and the most insane of which would be the terrain drive mode. You actually have to accept a prompt on the screen in order to even enter into terrain drive mode, because that gives you the most exaggerated rear wheel steering. Otherwise, that 4-wheel steering just in normal usage, in normal drive mode, at normal ride height, everything works about as you would expect it. This is a very comfortable vehicle. That air ride suspension makes this very comfortable, despite the fact that we have 22-inch wheels with limited sidewall. Again, I would prefer the extreme off-road. I think it would actually even be more comfortable on-road, thanks to all that extra rubber on the 18 versus these 22-inch wheels. But the air ride suspension is very good. The 4-wheel steering makes this massive vehicle feel like this big. So between the instantaneous torque whenever you jab your foot down, and the 4-wheel steering that makes this much smaller than it really is when maneuvering, this is perhaps like the best of all worlds. You've got a big, massive vehicle with plenty of room inside for your entire family, and it doesn't maneuver like a tank. Though, yes, it derives from military type vehicles. Huh, that's a weird one. But yes, this is absolutely a vehicle you could daily, and we have for the past week. Again, a huge thanks to GMC for bringing this to us to get to live with for a full week. Would I spend $107,000 on this exact trim and expect to do a lot of off-roading? No, but would I spend $107,000 on this exact trim and expect to turn heads? You're darn tootin' I would. I have turned so many heads with this. I've had so many conversations about this, from the paint color to the 22s, to the fact that it's an EV, to the fact that it's a Hummer for the modern era. Everybody seems to want to talk about this, including people at the gym. Yes, gym bros, I do believe, are the target market for this vehicle, even though it is a very practical family vehicle at that. I can see over my 410 miles of driving this around, I'm averaging 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour and a Motor Trend estimated 205 kilowatt hour battery pack underneath me. You can do the math on that. Real world in this, we drove it 105 miles one way and used around 130 miles of range. So yeah, I was a little bit worried about how we would get home, until I found a Chevrolet dealership in St. Augustine, right down the street from where we were attending an event. I plugged it in, charged up nice and quickly. We were at 83 by the time we were good to go. And yes, charging is an issue with this, because that battery pack is massive. If I hadn't have found that, yes, we could have gotten home with about 50 miles of range left, but it would have probably taken 24 hours to charge at home, even on my 240 home charger. So that is saying a lot. You may have been watching this screen here in front of me saying regen or torque distribution, axle torque. I'm not quite sure what this number is, if I could truly max it out at that 11,500 that General Motors claims. But yes, this is showing you when we're doing regen and when we're actually using power. This does have one pedal drive mode and regen on demand, but I don't like how you have to dig through screens to get to that one pedal drive mode functionality. So to get to that, I actually have to turn to normal or my mode, and then there is my button for my one pedal. It's kind of hidden, kind of buried, and when you turn that off, it kind of feels like a rubber band has been chopped off the back of your vehicle, because you can kind of go a little bit easier and move a little bit easier because you're not being tethered down by that regenerative braking. I really have enjoyed my time in my week with this vehicle. It really is a jack of all trades. And I would say in some respects, it's possibly a better vehicle than a Jeep Wrangler or a Ford Bronco, because if you are simply looking for a vehicle with a removable roof, that open air experience, and that rugged go anywhere persona, the Hummer EV has that in spades. You know, you can't take the doors off, but you do get ventilated seats. And when temperatures crest triple digits here well through August and into September, this really is an all-around, all-year usable removable roof vehicle that you can take off-roading, and that can also accelerate like a son of a gun. This really can do it all. It is a jack of all trades. And when you consider that $107,000 price tag, but everything you get for it, the fact that this is a supercar, an off-roader, a family car, a daily driver, a grocery getter, this thing really can do it all. And perhaps that's why it costs so much. You're paying for all of those vehicles built into one. I don't know, just my thoughts. Would I buy this particular one? I don't think so. I really like that extreme off-road package, but as a spiritual successor to the H2, this thing has really turned heads between its blue paint and those 22-inch wheels, and yes, the overall design of it. If you want to see more from us here on the channel, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video drops. Find us on all social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it, all at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the most insane family vehicle I have tested on this channel to date, until next time, gearheads, bye. Here we go again. Woo! The fact that we have a drift angle meter, totally insane to me. This is a 10,000 pound SUV with 16 inches of ground clearance and a drift angle.